Okay, so your name?
My name is Gary, and the owner of G Tech Auto and lead auto technician for the shop. And I've been running this shop. I own the shop for about 17 years now, um, starting from scratch, and uh, been going well ever since.
What kind of stuff do you guys do here?
We do a lot of general repair, um, basically everything from brakes, tires, air conditioning, electrical repair, suspension, all that stuff. It's a like all one stop shop.
And how long you known Kyle for?
I've known Kyle for about 3 years now, through another client, a really good client of mine, and he's been a really good customer.
Excellent. And any plans to expand in the future, or you happy where you are?
I have had thoughts of expanding, of opening another shop closer to where I live, up in Wasaga Beach. I do the drive every day from Wasaga to Brampton, uh, but for me, it's worth it. I love coming down here. Business is good here in Brampton, but yeah, I've been having thoughts of opening another business up over there, and still having this business running too. But we'll see.
And how was it working on Kyle's vehicle this summer?
It's been great. Little things that have been a little bit difficult, but manageable. Been done, but no, it's been great. It's fun learning new things and seeing the different stuff that he likes to do and trying to make it better. And that's what I'm all about, is trying to satisfy the client as much as possible.
Okay. And anywhere, any plug, any Instagram or anything you want to plug where you guys can find?
I do have an Instagram. That's at GTech Auto One. Uh, yeah, GTech Auto One on Instagram.
Perfect. Sweet. Okay, Kyle.
Yes, sir.
It's the end of the season. Season's
End of
done and
season.
over with.
Yes, sir.
So, how did it compare to your first season of driving?
I think this season went really, really well. First year was learning year, so figuring out what I can do as a driver, what my car can handle with me behind the wheel. Um, this year it was more so whatever I set last year for lap times. Let's go out and beat that. Um, the power range that the vehicle has versus the other cars that I have, or the power range that this vehicle has versus the other cars I'm against, it's not there time wise. So I don't think I would have been super competitive with the class I was in. But if I can go out every event and beat my time from last year, that shows me that I'm improving, and maybe I could start winning eventually down the line, whether that be putting more power into the car or what. As long as I learn the fundamentals of driving on track and during races, I should just keep improving. So it was a really good year. It was a big improvement.
What show's that from?
I have no idea.
All you cool cats and kittens? That's from a fucking Tiger King.
From what?
You ever see
Tiger King?
Tiger King?
Never watched it in my
Pretty
life.
sure the wife was always talking about like, oh, these cool cats and kittens. Some weird shit. I don't know. I know you're into that shit. Which is okay. I have to say that. It's okay. I support your decisions. You're my friend. I'm a supportive friend. I'm gonna leave the tails. It's gonna look a lot better. It's gonna look like I'm going so fast that it's just fucking. Alright, the last event of the year. And I forgot my lap timer at home, so I'm driving blind today, which I don't know. I haven't drove blind since my first. You could have let me know, eh? You just wanted to zoom in on that shit? Because let's see his reaction, just like out in Shannonville. Alright, well, dodged a bee. I was gonna say let's dodge some cars, but it doesn't really sound right. That's not what OTA is about. But Yeah, I'm driving blind. I haven't drove blind since my first ever lapping session, just on the cell phone check after. So it's going to be all up to me to push hard, or as hard as I can every single lap without knowing what the time is until I come off. So it'll be, I think, a lot more sweeter. Hitting, if I can get 119, sub 120 would be great. I've never done that yet on this track. Last year here, it was a 124 back in August or October last year when I got back from Z Nationals. So if we can beat 124, which is our last year's time, we'd be thrilled. But I think I've got more in the car to get down into the 121s, 120s. So if we can even knock into the 119s, that'd be really good for next year. That'll give us a lot to think about for next year. So I gotta check tire pressures and get changed. Driver. It's my only one, so I can't spill shit on it. Even though I'm washing this tomorrow in laundry anyways. My other white one with all black, what was it? DDT, I was eating a banana and it touched my shirt. Now I got this big dark stain on it. It's my only one too. What are you zooming in on? You kept going down and zooming in, don't go off. Alright, let's head over.
And service work on your race car or your daily driving. NB Auto, you drove by them on Highway 6, with their repeated support on the track. A couple more I'd like to mention. Can Alignment, run by our head instructor Scott Murphin. If you live in the west side of town, Scott does alignments and suspension setups. And finally, Razor Motorsports returns for this season.
I don't know why I'm green today.
Hey Tristan, get an extra chair. I got you an extra chair again.
Thanks, buddy.
Did you remember to bring yours?
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
I can't remember that you were going to bring it forward.
Okay.
Usage on that chair, right? It's like, how many times you bring it for him so far?
Oh, at least 6.
6 times 20.
That's a lot.
20 an hour.
8 hours a day.
8 hours a day. That's
Family of
160.
Huh?
A family of crooks.
Oh, I disappeared. Oh no, I didn't.
Now, I see there's a trophy behind you. We'll get into that at the end.
Sounds
What did it feel like from, how do you compare your first race to the last race
Of this year?
of this year, or this season? Yeah.
First race, where were we? We were GP at Mosport. Mosport race was amazing. It's my favorite track that we go to. I don't think there will ever be a year where I don't attend Mosport GP. I might skip some other tracks, but that's definitely where we're going first. That first race was a huge weight off the shoulders, knowing that last year was a learning year and this year was more of a, okay, let's find more time. Yeah, it was a pretty great race that day. And then the last race of the year, last race was also really well. Behind me happened before it, and the last race I actually got a faster time than I did for that trophy back there. So it's showing a lot for next season. I think if I had a little bit more brake pads on the car, I could have been faster, could have trusted braking more. But first to last race, just great season. Felt great.
get down to 121.
Catching more now.
Because they're a lot slower than him.
What was the feeling? I know in the first race, you had basically a really big comeback because you're trying to hit your goal time.
Yeah.
And then you had it really didn't look like at the end of the day you were going to get it. And then on your final lap of your final heat, you got it. So how was that feeling compared to the next race that we had the week after, where you really didn't get what you were looking for? How was that? How was it feeling switching back and forth?
I think the video show itself, I had just a lot of energy come out in a huge cheer, hitting that lap record for myself, and then going out to Shannonville, knowing I struggled there last year a bit, and really, there's something with that course that just gets to me. So going out to Shannonville this year, for some reason, I just didn't want to be there. Before I got in the car, I did not really want to race that weekend. And then after Saturday was over and all the emotions completely opposite of Mossport, then for Sunday I felt like, okay, let's just go and have fun. So it's you kind of get I kind of got lost in the fun aspect of driving with, oh, couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, the temperature's bad. So it kind of taught me more, just, calm down a bit, go out and drive, have fun. If you don't get your if you don't beat your record from last year but you're still having fun, that's what you're here for. You're not here to break massive records. If you don't hit your lap record, just go have fun.
In episode 2 and 3, we were in Shannonville.
Yeah.
And describe what it's like as a driver dealing with plus 40 feeling temperature on the track.
Jeez. Especially as a rookie, it's difficult. You haven't done it a whole lot, if ever, before. So trying to understand what your car is going to do with how it's set up is one thing, but then add the mixture of weather in that you're not familiar with and a track you're only at once a year. It's just there's so much to learn in that short amount of time that by the time you've learned it, the weekend's done. But now you're focusing on something else. So when you get back to that same track, okay, well, I learned this, but now the weather's changed differently. So it's kind of difficult, but that's the whole point of the fun, is the challenging part.
And then episode 5, we went to. What did we do? Episode 5. I mean, episode 4. Sorry, episode 4 was DDT.
4 and 5 DDT.
DDT.
Yeah.
So at the DDT track, you did have some challenges with your lap timing.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit how that felt, just not knowing what your times were going to be?
Kind of weird. Last year I at least had my cell phone running in my car with solo laps or whatever the program was. So not having it this year to actually record, it felt weird at first, but then it was okay because I told myself, just go out and drive. You'll come off after your lap, see what you did. If I got to where I wanted to be, hey, that's great. If I didn't, okay, well, remember what I did, go out and do better, or try to do better. DDT weekends, weather was actually really good. Wasn't too hot, obviously wasn't cold, and the surface there is a lot smoother than Shannonville. Shannonville's really, really rough track. DDT is nice and smooth, so the grip for me in my car is a bit better than going over bumps and lifting when you're braking because the bumps are so bad. So it was a good weekend.
And how do you feel about seeing Buddy there, that the bottom out of his vehicle there?
Oh, the Honda.
Yeah.
I actually, watching back, I thought it happened right in front of me, but there was probably 3 or 4 cars that went by before it happened. But yeah, I come around 1, 2, probably like 3 or 4 corners. I'm not good at remembering which. But come around the corner to come down that straight, and I just see this big poof of white smoke. I'm thinking, shit. Okay. And I'm looking, I don't see any flags. They didn't have that many marshals, but there's no flags. So I'm like, all right, these laps are probably done. As I take the corner, I can see the head of his piston just sitting there on the track. I thought I've never seen that before. So it was interesting because anything like that can happen. So just hope he didn't money shift.
One thing we didn't really go into, but there's another guy that always came to every race, and that's your father. So what's it like having your dad there? Comes to every one of your races.
Makes me feel young. No, it's great to have him there. He's been there through my whole childhood for hockey, growing up, probably starting on skates probably as soon as I came out. Put me on skates as soon as I could stand or walk. Probably about 3 or 4 I started actually getting into hockey, all up until I was about 19, 20. He's always been there for that. So the fact he can join me through my adventures as a racing driver, it's kind of cool. It kind of brings back that bonding we had as a kid into now bonding as adults over something a bit bigger than just hockey. And it's cool that he takes interest in things that I'm interested in. I think that support system I have there is pretty cool.
After 6 races, or 6 events, sorry, what is your most memorable moment, the best moment?
I want to say that just when I could beat my lap time. So GP weekend. Actually, we started pretty good with GP weekend, beating my lap time. And then the last race at TMP, I wasn't a fan of that track this year until we got there. And I think last year I was a 126-ish. This year I hit a 119, I believe. Just snuck into the 119s on the last event. So that's a huge improvement there. And I kind of like that track again just because of that. Not Shenandoah.
So let's talk about event number 6. How did it feel? What was a high point during that race or that event?
We started that event with 0 lap time whatsoever. I had opted to sleep at home that night instead of usually camping at the track. And I had no lap time or no way of even remotely checking times. So I just went out and drove. I tried to push the car a lot harder in the corners, going in, braking later, coming out faster. That seemed to work pretty good. So it's just a good weekend overall for the last event. And kind of surprised me a bit too. Because I know with my buddies that drive 370s, we all try to get under 120. Sub 120 for all of us in the 370, 350s. That's a pretty good lap time. So the fact that I was able to sneak into the 19s, share that info with all my buddies in the same car, it's pretty cool.
Now, because your lap timer wasn't working there, your dad was doing these hand signals.
Yeah.
Can you explain
Yeah.
hand signals?
So we were about a lap behind. And then, so because he's got his lap timer and his hand signals, this would obviously be 4. Anything upside down would be like, so a 5 down like that would be a 19. A 4 down is 18. And then obviously a full fist is 20. Fortunately, I'd be a lap behind, so I would get my lap time, go around the second time, and I would see his hand signal for the previous lap, not the current, because there's no way to tell until I pass. So it was kind of cool just to have that kind of communication on track. I think maybe a 2-way would be maybe easier.
Consideration for next year?
Maybe.
I'm going to go into 4th on the chicane there, and I put it in 2nd. It rev real high, then I put it up to 5th and then 6th.
120, 120. You're in the 120s for a bunch of laps. They haven't posted any times on their site.
120 what?
Anywhere from 120.02 something. Okay.
1.02?
120.09.
Fuck.
Now that's my timing, so
Yeah.
you can add probably maybe 10. Yours,
Well, no, your timing's been pretty good this year.
your
So
first lap was 121.
yeah, no, I saw that.
1-0. And it went 0.5, 0.0, 0.3, 0.2.
Well, I misgeared that. It just absolutely reeked. No, I felt real good. It's getting slippery for me, like in a good way.
You wiggled over there, but it was still one of your fast laps.
Yeah, because I'm steering.
Eh?
I'm steering real well.
Sorry, your car was going by. Couldn't hear you.
So I'm steering real well. I've got it. How dirty am I from laying on the ground?
Oh, you're all right.
All right. I've got a 19 into me.
Yeah.
I mean, with the car driving as well as it is, there's no point in adjusting my tire pressure. I'm getting faster laps with more air in the tires, so I just want to notch it down a slight bit. I'm not even going to check the fronts because everything's spot on right now. If I don't know, a lot of people like running their preferred, but I'm getting faster and faster on the tire's current temperature, so why change that based on what I like to run versus what the tires are clearly telling me that they like to run at? I used to hate this track. I kind of like it. I don't mind it as much.
Do you think your faster times are attributed to the fact that you don't have your lap timer in the car? You just focus on filling the vehicle and just driving?
That's a really good question. I honestly, I don't know. I'm pushing a lot more than I ever have. I know that much. Like I'm braking deeper. I'll tap at the 4 mark. I'll be on brakes by 3. I'm off brakes at 2. I think the tapping is helping set the brakes instead of just pushing them and waiting for them to grab. I know they're going to grab immediately, so I think that's helping a lot better. No, I'm just really pushing today. Like I just feel it. I've got like a new life into time attack, and I'm not sure why, but I just trying to push. I beat my fastest time of last year by what is it? I think it was a 26 here. So if I'm at a 20, I'm 6 seconds faster. When I came here last year, at the end of last year, it was a 24 in October. So I'm 4 seconds faster than what that was. But no, it could be a bit. But at the same time, I don't really look at each timer. I kind of do though. Oh no, that's a good question. Let me sleep on that and send you a voice note to put in on with the answer. Well, car feels great today though. Just absolutely fantastic. Very pleased with how I built it so far. Very pleased with all the settings and how it's currently sits. To me, it's a true definition of a street car. You can take it to the track and beat the shit out of it. Then you can just drive it on the road and still feel comfortable. A 16-hour drive to Atlanta. That's surprised my back was. I thought my back was gonna hurt going 14 hours North Carolina last year. Not one bit did it hurt. So it's time for bed.
Okay, so let's get into the trophy that's in behind you.
Sir.
First off, where is it with OTA or is it with a different organization?
No. This year, kind of like a last minute decision, we decided to check out CSCS Racing. We did their time attack at their last event of the year at Toronto Motorsports Park in Cayuga. The way that they class cars, it's bracketed racing with like parameters. So you can have this type of modifications done for this class. If you're over here, then you have to move to the next class. So you're allowed this per class type of thing versus a kind of point system how OTA does it. Now, For me personally, I think that works out for my favor because I ran in just production touring class, and there's no V8s, which kind of makes it interesting. And everybody's kind of the same speed horsepower wise. So you can get some really good drivers in the production class. Depending on what subclass too, there's really good drivers throughout all production. Um, yeah, I just think it benefited my car for how it's set up.
How was the atmosphere there compared to an
Oh man,
OTA?
that atmosphere is so usually near the end of the day you start getting tired. We probably had a 4 hour gap from our last qualifying run until the actual race run. And just the atmosphere, just all the people there, it was insane. So we were awake, alert the entire day, just happy to be there, ready to go out. And, well, we went out. It's not first, but second place is still damn good.
Yeah. So is it something you're considering for next season?
Yeah, 100%. I've got a lot to think about over the winter. But in terms of competitiveness for myself, I do think CSCS might be a little bit better for me in terms of just competition level for the car, exposure for everybody who's helped out with building the car and maintaining the car, um, better exposure for the guys here at GTEC Auto and Gary, and that's for me. That's a good way to give thanks to people is by getting them that type of exposure, um, and the whole lap traffic with their qualifying, as bad as it was during the last event, I kind of enjoyed that because it made me think about more things that could happen as a driver versus just drive straight turn, because you have all these other cars on the course. So if you got a guy blocking you, not letting you by, it's how can I get by him? So it's a little bit more, in my opinion, it's a little bit more race aspect than just a time trial, time attack aspect.
Is there any plans to do any more upgrades to your vehicle?
Ah, the list doesn't end.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not ending.
Mm-hmm.
We'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll leave it like that for now.
Okay. Just want to talk a little bit because we had your company pretty much plastered all over every video that we put out there.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about how that company started?
Yeah. So me and one of my high school friends, actually, really good buddy of mine, Josh, we started a car club on YouTube. Not necessarily a club, just like a page on social media. Back in 2017, pre-COVID, we used the whole cruises, events, car meets, just drives down to places. Like we went down to Niagara with a bunch of guys, met up with the car club down there, had kind of like our own cruise and meet, came back, everything was good. And then COVID and post-COVID, those meets started getting kind of ruined a little bit. So we pulled out of them, but we kept our page and our brand going. And then the racing aspect, the SKR, came from me actually wanting to get involved in the racing community, involved in the track days with the track community, and so I just how can we make a sub branch of our own main branch, and that's where SKR came from.
Hmm. Any plans to expand into the future, or just gonna go as it, take it as it goes?
Kind of take it as it goes. I'd love to expand, but I wouldn't know where to start. Um, Obviously, with racing, there are options. I would love to go drive down in the States, be picked up by a team in the States, uh, check out some tracks there. I met some guys down at Z Nationals this year that actually plan on going down some track days down in New York, state of New York, and see what those tracks are like down there. So, and you never know with racing. Somebody can come across a YouTube video and say, "Hey, this guy can drive. Let's get him in our car, test out in a car, and maybe I do a weekend of racing under a different team." So it's all it takes is that one opportunity, and who knows? Anything can happen.
One thing I forgot to double back on. How did it feel winning that trophy?
Felt good.
In second, or at least placing.
It felt good. You know, I was worried about breaking out of my class, but we didn't break out of class. Basically, meaning we ran too fast. So, but no, it was really good. We pushed really hard. We had no lap timer, so we had no idea what was going to happen. And then actually, I was mic'd up. Thought you were wearing your headphones. So I remember in the video, I said, "Let me know. Put your hand up if I placed. I don't care if it's 1, 2, or 3. Just put your hand up." I didn't see anybody down at the wall, but I thought I saw the old man there. I'm like, "Is that what the hell's going on?" I call him, no one answers. I was like, "Okay, something's going on here." But no, it felt amazing. I had in my head that I was bringing home some hardware that weekend. I went out and I drove. I did it. So was well deserved reward for the effort that I've been putting in for the last 2 years.
Okay, and to close out, thoughts on how this entire experience was for you this season, just as a wrap up.
Yeah, it's kind of been cool. I think the number one reason why I wanted to film this year was to have better versions of the memories of my race season. The in-car footage is great. From the first year that I did, just having it up there, that's great. But it doesn't really capture my weekend in a sense of what I'm doing, doing dumb jokes either with my father or with whoever else is there. Just, I kind of wanted to capture moments of me, my hobbies, my life on a race weekend. So that way, later on in life, if I go back and start watching things, I can rewatch that. I can relive those moments, and it's been fun. I'm glad I did this, and we're definitely going to be continuing.
Sweet, man. Perfect.
I don't know if that answered it. But before we go, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's helped out with the car. From the start of the vehicle to where it sits currently, Z1 for all the parts on the car, Soho for tuning it, of course G-Tech Auto and Gary for taking the car in whenever I text or call, regardless of what it is. If I need one tire put on the car, or if an oil filter somehow got stuck and broke and needed to be pulled off, they've become a family to me, and they're right down the road, which is great. So a tow's not going to cost me that much if I stick on another oil filter and screw that up. My oil sponsor for this year, Bantacore Capital, my really good high school buddy. Appreciate helping out this year with that as well. What else do we got? Next one for helping out too when I needed them, with small minor things here and there. Tire Boss, always getting me a good price on tires. Really appreciate that. He's been with us as well for the 2 years of racing. And Dowski Designs, my good friend Brandon. We've been working together for 2 years and still haven't met in person, which is kind of weird. But I want to thank everybody for everything about how the car sits right now. So I guess we'll see everyone next year. Yeah. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cut.